Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sudhasiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryandam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sakana Vavadu, Sakana Punaktu, Sakavidyam Karabhavagai, Tejasvina Vadidamastama Vishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnana Pradam Guru Mukshunam Hidarthaya Tattva Bodha Abhidiyate. Good morning. So we will finish this section today. Where are we? Just to recap, we are studying the Tattva Bodha as a Prakarana Grantham, which gives us the introduction to Vedanta and the topical matter which are important for us to dwell deep. So we start with the Adhigaratvam, the essential qualification that one should have in order to get the benefit of Vedanta Jnana. So we have not, at least I have not achieved those qualifications. So what we have committed is, yes, knowing the qualification is very important. We will continue to attain those qualifications by the appropriate means, which are Dharma, Bhakti, Karma Yoga, Satsanga Sambhati, and so on and so forth. Then, topically, we started at Jiva Vicara. The reason we started Jiva Vicara because Vedanta is all about ourselves. It's not about God. It's not about the world. It's about us. But we are not without the context of the world. Therefore, Vedanta teaches about the world. Ultimately, it takes you to the Godhood. Therefore, the Jiva Vicara is the only lesson in the only school in Vedanta. This is taught. None of the schools, none of the education gives you a subject about self-understanding. So therefore, what we totally ignore in our domestic life, even other theosophical applications, we pursue in Vedanta the question of who I am. So we've gone through the Jiva Vicharam, and then we analyzed it into many parts, in principally Sariratrayam, 3 bodies, embodiments. Then we questioned the Ishvara. Ishvara is beyond our comprehension. But if you take the assumption that Ishvara creates everything, the Karanam is always in the Karyam, the cause is always in the effect. Therefore, we studied the world. So like a Sariratrayam, there are Prabhanchatrayam. So we saw similarity in our approach. The Jiva Vichara, we have 3 bodies. The Ishvara Vichara, the world being the body of the God. 3 Prapanchas, Sthula Prapancham, Sukshma Prapancham, and Karana Prapancham. So we've gone through this kind of a discriminative study using Viveka and Shraddha. At the end of that study, of the chapter, the Guru said, now you know what is Jiva, who is Jiva, and who is Ishvara, and what is Jagat. By this understanding, therefore, conclude Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. So he put that atomic bomb at the end of it. So Jiva and Ishvara Aikyam. This is something which impossible for us to appreciate, understand, accept. Therefore, the Sishya asked the next question. So, just recap. Nanu sa ahankarasya kinchit nyayasya jivasya nirahankarasya Sarvajnasya Ishvarasya. Tattvamasita Mahavakyat Katam Abheda Buddhi Syat. Ubhayo Vriddha Dharma Akarna Tattvat. I am limited in knowledge. I have the false identity about myself. Therefore, how can I be equal to the Sarvajna? The Tattvamasi and such words, such sentences that you're going to quote to bring the unification of Jiva and Ishvara, therefore, inconceivable, not acceptable. So this is what we saw. And then he quoted the Tattvamasi as a Mahavakya. Then in the last session, we had a brief understanding of what is a Mahavakya. Mahavakya in the Vedanta, especially in Advaita Vedanta, is those quotations, statements that reinforces the identity of Jiva Ishvara unification. Of course, we saw some differences in the interpretation of those. We will park them for a while. Then we understood the Tattvamasi is a Guru Upatesa Vakya. This Vakya came from Chandogya Upanishad. And we saw about that, a brief story about Chandogya Upanishad as well, I think. Yeah, so I think we saw that. So there, I don't want to recap the story again. It is Shvetaketu who has got all the knowledge. The knowledge hasn't given him the Vinayam or the humility. That has given him a stumbling block. Therefore, his father, his teacher, again propels him to go back and study. So he goes to gurus again, comes back. Twice he does it. And second time when he came back after 24 years of age, he asked the question, have you learned? By learning which? All unlearned is learned, unthought is thought, unknown is known. And that was a very puzzling statement. So he asked the question, nobody taught me that. What is it? Then he says, Sadyeva Soumya idam agra asit ekam eva advitiyam. So you start with the word Sat. Sat means true existence, the truth, the reality. Is that which is advitiyam, non-differentiated, abedam. That's what exists. Then he gives an example of many things, and then every time he quotes Tattvamasi, Sa Atma, Tattvamati, Shvetaketu. I think he does it 9 times. So I think we just take a step back and say, right, I can't accept it generally. This is impossible to accept. Some of the even learned scholars say, it is even a sin to say, I am God. So how can therefore we take this Mahavakyam in this way? So if we can ignore those who don't believe in Vedas, so there is no need to argue about their stand. On those who follow the Vedas, the Astikas, there is a saying that this is a perpetual difference. There is absolutely assertive statement that I am not God, God is not me, everything is different. What is the Drishtandam for it? Everyday experience. I am not you, you are not me. A fruit is not a flower. Everything is different. These differences exist all the time. Therefore, let's not kid ourselves that I am God and all that kind of stuff. Let us just keep God wherever he is. We have a reverential approach to him, seek his mercy, pray to him. Of course, we work hard, we follow the Vedas, we take the life as it is. Brilliant approach, happy to be there. If you're happy with that idea that there is a perpetual difference, that's fine. It doesn't gel well because if the difference is perpetual, there exists something other than God all the time. Therefore, God is powerless in the sense because there is a difference. God has got a boundary. There's something which is not Him. So there are certain schools, certain philosophies like that, perfectly fine for leading this life very gently and peacefully if you follow the ethics of it. But it doesn't take you anywhere. Then you have this school of thought. No, nothing is outside God. Everything is in God. We just be part of it. But we can never be that. You can never call a little droplet of the sea water as an ocean. No. The vibhutis are different. The glory is different. It may come from the sea. It may be part of the sea, like a branch of a tree. So therefore, we are all part of this one big God. We forever will be the part. If you want to really call it one, it's a very special one. But we are part. Therefore, how do we lead the life? We lead the life. We see everything in divine state because everything is in God. Therefore, it is far better than duality because we now see all abides in the God. Everything is in the God. But I am not God. I can be closer to God. I can be part of the God. So for them, even the fulfillment or the liberation or mukti, they show in 4 or 5 ways, like, Salokyam, Swamibhyam, Saurubhyam, Sayujyam. In Bhagavatam even says, Sarishtam. Salokyam is that you worship a particular form of God, maybe your Ishta Devata, Kula Devata, and you do everything in your life with a devotion to that God. And when you acquire the right punyas, right yogyada, when you dispel your body, you reach the abode of that God. Be it Kailash, Vaikunta, Brahmaloka, Shaktaloka, Sripura, or Jesus heaven. Salokyam. So you are going to be in a very different world, which is God's world. But remember, God's world is also this. But here it is a special world because there sufferings are less. There is no karma. There it is go and expend your pava punya. But you are there because your punya is the predominant one. In fact, punya is all. So you are there to enjoy. So therefore it is sukham, inbam, happiness. Of course, it depletes. It's a prepaid card, and if it depletes, you have to come back. There's something called Swamibhyam. Swamibhyam is, okay, if you go to the heavenly abode, Shwargam, or Kailash or Vaikunt, and it's so big, it must be very big, bigger than this earth. So where I am going to be in that place? Am I close to the God's palace, God's abode, or a little bit far away? See, all this thinking comes because you are still thinking we are different from God. So there must be distance in time and space. So therefore they say, yeah, you can actually go very close to God. Samibhyam. You can be with God. You can be there as a Darshana, Darshan, you can be there serving them. Then say, even if you have more devotion, more good things, maybe because of many, many incarnations, rebirths, and you come back and you get purified. And then you become the form of God. Sarupyam. Like just now we heard in the Bhagavad Gita class, Krishna is showing with 4 hands to Arjuna. Because he is now not normal human being. He's God. So he's showing his power. Power of manifestation, Sagasra Sisha Purushaka Sagasracha Sagasrabat. Thousands of faces, all this he shows. They say you can become that in form. Because you see, when Dvaitam is there in any form, there is a form. So you become like God. Like, if you go to these temples, the Dwarapalakas are there standing outside. Sometimes you look at it in some of those beautiful temples. Dwarapalakas look like Lord Vishnu himself with this 4 hands, Sangha Chakram, and same in Shiva's temple, Dwarapalakas. Same, look like God. Are they free, eternally free? No, they are so close to God. Are they eternally free? No. If they are free, why? How can a rishi come and do a curse on Dwarapalaka and they become a Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyakshita? He is taking a God's form with 4 hands and he is standing Samibhyam, Salokyam. Bhagavan says, no, you still consider yourself different. That's why you are outside the door. You are not with me. You're not in me. So you go through it. But this is also called moksha or mukti, because you can treat it as a relative in time and space. In the earth, we live for 120 years, they say, if you live correctly, healthily. Maybe in a previous yuga, maybe they lived more years. Maybe in Swarga and Indraloka, maybe in thousands of years, and Brahma maybe in many, many yugas. The relative span of the time increases, but it is a definite end. Then there's Sayujyam, they say. Sayujyam, you become one with the God. You become part of it. So of this, Sayujyam becomes a preferred one. But you need something where you want to be free. And please take it in a very right way. I'm not saying with any arrogance or anything like that. Even free of any bond with anything. That is freedom. Tyagaraja was lost his Rama statue and he's got so much of tabam. He gets it, but his brother says him, look, why are you looking for a murti? And Sita asked Anjaneya, who is Rama to you? He says, Rama is in my stula sarira, when I do upasana, Rama is my master. But in my consciousness, I am Rama. Freedom from everything. Until one can get the freedom from everything, one cannot be called mukta or kaivalya. But that is impossible unless one becomes one with the one, which has nothing other than this. Because fear comes from duality. Fear is there because there is something other than you. Kama, Krodha, Lopa, Moga, Mada, Machi. All this thing comes because there is something other than you. So I can think everything is me, everything is myself, everything is related to you. Okay, I can expand my ownership, my identity. See, the thing is, identity is the problem. Even Tattvamasi, when he talks about it, we bring our intellect to analyze it. I advocate intellect as a foremost instrument of knowledge. But the intelligence itself is not the only faculty for us to understand things. I think we discussed before, but just briefly recap. The difference of human being, Narajanmam Durlabham, is because we have the manas. The manas is actually divided into many, many parts. In principally, we look at it into 4 parts. Buddhi, manas itself, chittam, and ahankaram. You remember that? So buddhi is the intellect. Buddhi is your sharpening knife. So we need buddhi to analyze anything. But imagine I give you or your wife cooks a fantastic food and you eat it. Once she puts in potato sabji and you immediately look at it, oh, it has got peeled potatoes. It is Kingfisher potato brand. You put olive oil, you put sesame seeds, you put salt. You analyze it and bring it to the food. Fantastic. It is a knowledge. And you eat. So you have actually expressed to your wife that you have eaten the food and you know exactly how she cooked. But if you approach the same thing, forget about how it is made, but you see the love and affection and the sincerity and the thing, you also approach it now, but your intellect is in the back seat. Your mind is now looking at it with a very different measures. If you give it to scientist a rose flower and he may cut it to this knife, intellect knife, and give you everything about the rose, his DNA, that's one knowledge. But does he appreciate what a poet appreciate on a flower? Maybe not. So you have to approach the knowledge with all the faculties. So it is very, very nonsensical to say, I analyze this Vedantic statement, my intellect, it doesn't stand scrutiny. Well, that means you have handicapped with your application of intellect. Therefore, you come into a problem. So therefore, you need to approach this with your emotions, your shraddha, your intellect, your goal, your lakshya. Why we are not able to do? Because the ahankara, the other part of the our subtle body, ahankara is all about identity. So we identify with something all the time. What does identification means? Identification means a binding, a bias, a belonging. Of course, I must identify with something. Otherwise, how can we live? So we identify. But we refuse to accept the bonus that comes with the identification. So if I identify myself as a an Indian or Indian, okay, if Indian, I'm an Indian, if I agree, then I have identification with all the Indians. My Indianness comes in. I am a father of these children. My children comes to me. So therefore, every time I analyze anything, what I am identifying with becomes my boundary of experience, acceptance, protection, prejudice, whatever you want to call it. Therefore, when you think of Tattvamasi and such statement, it is about Tvam, who I am. What is I am identifying with? Okay, I am a very learned person. I go through all the satsang. I understand every human being is divine being. Everything is divine. Therefore, I expand my identity beyond my house, beyond my family, beyond my thing to a community. Mitra Seva, South Indian community, my community. Londoners, Brits. But it has to keep on expanding to the point where there is no need to expand because it is all. Can we ever be in that state? Are we equipped to have that one? So Vedanta says, yes, that is your essential nature, like a child. What is a child? Child doesn't express anything. Child has nothing, no identification. A child, when it is born, and of course, when it is closer to the mother's bosom, she or she can take her mouth to drink the milk. So it is, if you bring a child to your ears, it will suck your ears because it is a natural instinct. When it is growing up and when it is hungry, when you give a food, sometimes it may not even know to put in its mouth. It may put in your mouth or put in its ears. Nothing. Everything is It doesn't have any identification with this body. But is it not giving you joy, pleasure? Of course, we change them. We change the child. You look like me, you look like mother, you look like tata, party, and so we give what are you going to be when you're 10 years old? We ask the question from young age, give her an identity. So we create a mold that this is you. And then we hold on to it. So therefore here, Tattvamasi, to understand it, I'm warning you therefore. We say, in some places say, if you know this Advaita Jnanam, you become immediately moksha. And they hold on to it, they argue, many scholars argue, it's impossible. Yes, it's impossible. It is not set in that context. In everything, there's a context to it. We don't believe in Kshanavadam. Buddhism got Kshanavadam. Everything instantaneous. No, ours is not instantaneous. It may look like instantaneous. For example, Bhagavan Ramana was, for him, instantaneous. Somebody was dead and he said, I enact death. He lies down. He thinks, yes, I am dead now. But I see that I am dead. I can think of death. Same way that person is dead there. That's enough for him to rekindle Tattvamasi. Then we reason it out, because for many, many incarnations, many, many janmas he has taken, he's gone through this many satsang classes, many things he learned. There's no karma for him anymore. That's it. For him, that is instantaneous. Therefore, it does not dawn on us the truth of divinity in us. Don't put it down because it is not satisfying the intellectual proof. It's instantaneous. Because the examples is in all any discourse, people say, if I keep my glasses like this, I go and look for the glasses, and somebody say, Raja, glasses on the forehead. What are you looking for? I get very ashamed, but I know I got it. Chitta Vastu, already attained, I didn't know. The knowledge itself is enough for me to get it. I don't need to do any action. I don't need to do upasana, karma. Therefore, if somebody says, you are that, I should become that divinity, but I am not coming that way. So how can I trust this Mahavakyas? There is a story about the 10 boys. This is again a Vedantic story. All the Vedantic examples are simple example, but very profound insight into this. They crossed that river in a boat. And then the leader, whoever the leader, is counting as everybody reached. He counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 he counts. One is missing. He counts again, 9, one is missing. Somebody says, okay, I'll count. He starts counting, 9, one is missing. And someone who was passerby comes there and they ask him, look, we had a problem. I said, what? This is what happened. And we crossed the river, but one of us is missing. So he says, count again in front of me. In front of the stranger, the leader counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, where is it? This was me. 10th person is missing. He says, count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When he said 9, and the stranger put his hand and say, that's me. You are the 10th person. It looks silly, isn't it? I mean, how can he not count himself? That silly we are. Vedanta says exactly, yeah, if you call the boy silly, you are silly because you do not know who you are. The Guru, he needed to turn the finger back to it. That's what me, I am that. When Karnan was in the Mahabharata, he was very wounded, it's a different story. We won't go into detail of it. So he, knowing that after humiliated, he knows that his parents, Radhayan was not his father. So he's now know that he is a discarded child. So he's suffering is so much in his heart. When it is revealed to him, Radheya, you are Kaunteya, you are not Radheya's son, but you are Kunti's son, Kaunteya. That's it. That minute, that second, his grief is gone. Because it comes from Bhagavan Krishna and Kunti. Therefore, he has got Shraddha on them. Therefore, he takes them as it is. What change has been happened to him? Has he started wearing a new crown or new horn? No. He's exactly same. He lived exactly same. He died exactly same as Radheya. But he was free. Free from the grief that he carried in his heart, labored in his heart. For him, the mukti has come there. So therefore, this answers another question which comes in. Say by God's grace, by Guru's grace, I do get this realization that I become the divinity. What happens to me? Now, we are going to discuss this in the last part of the Tattva Bodha. But here I'm telling you, our focus now is to get the Advaita Jnanam. Then we will take the Advaita Jnana Lakshanam. See, when you are in the deep ocean, we are in a canoe, you are coming there, dark night, and you see Cape Comorin, the Kanyakumari is there, lighthouse is there. You know that there is this shore that you need to go. Then you don't go straight in the direction of it. You don't go get immediately, you are not there. You don't go straight to that. What you do now is that you know now there is the shore, a safe place to be. But then now I navigate better. Now what happened? I come back to my boat. I can't go straight there because there is a rock in between. I navigate it. Therefore, my roles, responsibilities still continue to exist in the world, but I have the ability to modulate them, steer them in the direction of my ultimate goal. I become free. What is free? How can I be free now? Freedom is nature to us. So Dharma is freedom. The freedom is not there because we have the false notion of identity. But how do I actually behave? I always tell I learned it from my mentor in my early days in my career. I tell my staff sometime who ask for a promotion, if you want a promotion, don't ask for it. Whatever role that you want to attain, study that role and behave in your role as if you already got the role. Not in issuing orders, but in executing, planning, thinking. Your swarupam, your rupam becomes what you want to be. No way a manager can negate you or promotion application because you already proved in your job that you are good. You are proving that you can be the job that you want to be because you behave, conduct in the meetings, and all of you know. I mean, I'm just giving examples so that it's easier to correlate. Therefore, you have to behave that I can be one with God. Do I go out and brag that I am now Brahma? No. The next sentence that we will learn some stage, Aham Brahmasmi, is Anubhuti Vakya. It is for you to keep in your mind, never ever say. It's a secret. Then you look everybody else as divinity. The text is very simple. We can go to text and get the meaning very quickly, but I want to get the ground a little bit more. So therefore, how do I apply this in this world? How do I start behaving like this? We have to do our duty. In Bhagavan Krishna has given to Arjuna, the great teachers, what they do, great teachers want to really give out everything, give out the best to them immediately. And then understanding the ability of the students, his mindset, his intellect, his capacity to comprehend, then they modulate, then take you to the first principle. I remember with the great soul who just departed, who was fighting against the Oxford Hindu studies book. I'm going back in time in 2000, sorry, 1997, 98. So I had opportunity also to interact with him and give some input to him. So those days, our books used to have in UK, the O-level, A-level Hinduism will have incorrect references to things. And whether it is purposefully or whatever, we don't care. And then when it was refined, now if I can take, I can always recommend a O-level Hinduism book is a very good book to take and read because it gives you a fantastic input. I don't even see a book in India like that to give into the students. So in putting the courseware with Oxford Study Council, the committee worked around, put initial input. The initial input is Vedanta. It is not starting about Ganesha, Krishna, Rama, worshipping, bhakti. All that comes in later. The first one is about Vedanta. Because it immediately gives you, how can you give that knowledge to a 14-year, 15-year-old boy and a girl? You will be surprised. They have the capacity to comprehend everything because young age is a learning age. Earlier is better, even 6, 7 years is better to teach Vedanta. But then they take step. Then you go to the first principle. So anyway, so what we have to do, therefore, is to refine our approach in our task, not to have entanglement, to have an engagement. When you act something, when you are an identity, okay, I go to Vedanta class, I understand I am a divine being, but I am a father, I am a friend, I am a husband. That's the role I am playing. Now, if you keep that in mind, the action will not be an entanglement. Action will be engagement. What's the difference? In entanglement, you are the doer. There's no observer. You are experiencer. You are the winner, you are the failure. While doing, you suffer or enjoy. When you finish, you suffer or enjoy. But when you are an observer, you are like watching a movie. You may enjoy, you may laugh, but it doesn't affect you. You can watch a movie, 3 hours movie, doesn't matter what horror it brings in. You know that it is not affecting you. You choose to affect yourself to enjoy that momentary joy and grief, but you are detached. So we have to, this is what I say this because, all this session should have some application to our day-to-day life. It's not just knowledge, it's burden. We have to show changes in our approach to life for our own good, because this is what adhikaratvam comes in. Otherwise, all this knowledge, learning about Gita's, Upanishad, all that is just you have a bragging right you may get. I know the slogam, I know the meaning, but it doesn't give an iota of help to us. Now we come to the point. Okay, so Tattvamasi is, we will not approach purely intellectually, we take it emotionally, more with Shraddha. It's not going to be instantaneous, but it is like a lighthouse. I know it. I have no difference of, Smartha, Vaishnava, Madhva, all this, because all this is fine. We're all the same sailors. We have different anchor points. The anchor point is that be free. Now, I come back to the slogan now. You remember the student asked the question, how can you be, say, Tattvamasi is giving you this unification. So he says, iti chet na. If you say like that, it is not true. Why? The Guru replies, Stula Sukshma Sarira Abhimani Tvam Vacyartha. Stula Sukshma Sarira Abhimani. Now he is telling you Tat Tvam Asi. There are 3 words. Tat Tvam Asi. He is now taking the Tvam Padam. Padam means the word. padartham. Padartham is the meaning of that word. The tvam pada adartham is this vachyartha. Vachyartha is literal meaning, word meaning. What is the word meaning of tvam? Sthula sukshma sarira abhimani. See, remember the sariram? Sthula sariram, sukshma sariram. Karna sariram, we know it's just avidya. So, whoever identify with this body and mind and intellect, that this is me, abhimanam means ahankaram, ownership, identification. Whoever identifies that I am this body, I am this mind, I am the intellect, this complex personalities, I am, that is the meaning of the tvam pada vachyartham. And you say, yes, that's what I thought. When Shvetaketu was told that you are that Brahman, if I am Shvetaketu, I will say, look, how can I be the Brahman? I am this Shvetaketu who eats, who thinks, who studies Veda. Vakyartham is a literal meaning. The opposite, not opposite, the complement is Lakshyartham. Again, we touched upon this before, for a reminder. Lakshyartham is the intended meaning of the word when the Vakyartham or the Vachyartham is not giving the right meaning. Very important to understand. Lakshyartham is also depending on the Vachyartham. For example, England, India, Australia plays cricket, right? We say India lost to Australia, or India is fighting Australia. Whatever you say. It's not India going and fighting with Australia. India is Jadam. It's a place. So the Vachyartham is not helping you there. But we know quickly, it means cricket, if it is talking about cricket. It refers to the Indian players who goes to Australia and play. So the Lakshyartham is here, the players. I can't say England players. Because it's players, any players I can take, no. Lakshyartham has to depend on the Vachyartham. Vachyartham is India. So I must take the India-related players. See the relationship between the Lakshyartham and Vachyartham. So here, Tvam-pada Vachyartham is Thula Sarira Abhimani, Sukshma Sarira Abhimani. He says, no, that's what you're thinking. That is not. Then what? Upati Vinimuktim. Upati means what? Upati means discharge. Upati means any medium. Vinimuktim. Muktim means liberation, liberated. Vinimukti means totally. When you are totally free from the upati. Remember the upati. Upati is the embodiment. That which comes and superimposes itself on you. Remember that spadikam I showed you. A spadikam and a flower. The flower is a upati. The flower's color goes on the spadikam. So when the flower is removed, spadikam remains as a spadikam. Therefore, when the abhimani, sarira abhimani, the jiva, his upati is removed, vinimuktam is removed. Removed, not physically removed. It's not entangled anymore. That means we are able to engage with our body and mind. How do I engage with my body and mind? Because I see it is my body. I make them not I, but make it as mine. So you never say, I am sad. You say, my mind is disturbed. We never say, I am unwell. You say, my body is aching. It means the same thing, but it gives you a different perspective. My belonging, my embodiment, my instrument, my upatis need to be attended to. So if you take that way, you can say that my mind is not well. Therefore, I need a cure for my mind. When my body is not well, what do? You don't go yourself and go to psychiatry and say, look, I'm mad. No. You go to paracetamol, you go to the doctor and tell the doctor, look, I have the problem, attend to it. Therefore, you have the power to focus your remedial resources to the area of attention. If you differentiate ahankara from amakara, it's the first step. But even if I remove the I away, the false I connecting to Sula Sukshma Sariram, what happened then? You will be in a Upadi Vinimuktam Samadhi Dasha Sampannam Suddham Chaitanyam. So you will become Upadi Vinimuktam. When you are detached from this Upadi, you will be in where? Samadhi Dasha. Here the Samadhi is not Samadhi, not that one, not the Adhigaratvam qualification. Here Samadhi is a state of complete abidance. Dasha means, what do I say? Dasha means condition. No, it says Sani Dasha, Chukra Dasha, condition of Sani. The power of Shani is imposing on you. Here Samadhi Dasha. The Samadhi is imposing on you. Samadhi is the time. What is Samadhi? Very simply, Samadhi is Upati Vinimuktam. Free from Upati. What is Upati? Sura Sukshma Sarira Abhimana. The first line. So if you understand like this, it's very clear to your mind. So Samadhi is not closing the eyes and say, I'm just saying some mantra and no. That's a posture that you may end up with. If I'm posing like that and in my mind I'm thinking about what I am supposed to do tomorrow, I'm not in Samadhi. So that means, it's very, very, very important insight here. You can be in a Samadhi when you're doing a job. You in the class, when you're listening now, you can be in a Samadhi. Why? What's the definition of Samadhi here? Sthula Sukshma Sarira Abhimanam Venimuktim. That's why in yoga practice, before you take the meditation, yoga and everything, what I learned and what I always say is that, okay, just sit down for 1 week, 5 minutes, sit down. Don't sit down comfortably. Saukaryam asanam, whichever way you can sit down. But once you sit down, once you're seated yourself, Sula Sukshma Sarira Abhimanam Nasti. Don't itch, don't scratch it, don't move around, don't open the eye, don't close the eye, whatever. Just whatever position you are, better to close the eye, because when you see the eye, you'll get eye get painful. Fine, 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, unmoving. Once you are able to sit 10 minutes like that, then only you can take the japam, dhyanam, yoga, because then you know that you can be in a samadhi. Samadhi is not something, this is my humble view, it's not something you attain at the end of it. You attain something which is kaivalyam. But samadhi is something which you have an ability to put yourself in a position of power. I said power because you decide. When you close your eyes, even Sahasranama mantram, somebody is coming to you, you want to go to think about Lord Krishna, Vishnu. Sat Chintana, beautiful Chintana, nice to have. But that is not your sankalpam. So that you have to shut it down. Or a film song comes in, shut it down. Nice smell comes in, shut it down. But how can I shut it down? All comes to me. Yes, this is where you need to take the Patanjali's Yoga Sastram and understand some practice, Abhyasam. These are all steps to the Adhikarat. You're not going there. Here we are simply saying Samadhi. So when you are in that position, you become a Suddha Chaitanya. Otherwise, you become distorted. Upadi distorts. Say, if Tattvamasi means I'm God, okay, I can agree to that. Only I see the God. You see, I want to see the God. Arjuna saw the God, but he couldn't hold on to him. Uddhava was seeing the God, but he could not see him going away. See, even Lord Krishna, Paramatma came to the earth as a human being. A poor hunter's thin arrow meant for a deer can hurt him and he dies. He wanted to demonstrate embodiment. Any boundaries will decay. Because it becomes upati. So I want to see God. Okay. God is in a supreme place. You need to have a lot of qualifications. Yeah, I do all this parayana, mantram, samadhi, all the qualities I have. What can I see? He says, okay, you need the ability to see. Well, I can see. I can see you. I can see everything else. Then the Guru says, no. You want to see God. First, can you see yourself? I can see myself. Of course I can see myself. Okay, see yourself. See your face. What do? You immediately go to a reflecting medium. You need to go to a mirror, a glass, a marble, anything shines and reflects. And say, look, I am seeing my face. Then the Guru says, no, you are seeing a reflection of your face. Where is it? See your face. I can see your face. You can say, yes, but I ask you to see your face. If you want to see God with your eyes, the qualification is that you need to prove that you are able to see your face. Can we do that? Impossible. Leave alone the face. You can't even see even your back. You can't even see what is inside. Even a stula part we cannot see. You can't see the sukshma part. I can't see the seer. It is not an inability to understand. It is a limitation of yourself. It's a limitation for even Brahman as well. Brahman cannot see itself. That's why it created his Shakti. Vimarsha Rupini, Ambal came. Ambal is called Vimarsha Rupini. Vimarsha means to reflect. To reflect who? To the Brahman. The Brahman, maybe Brahman thought to himself, I want to see myself. It created an upati, Maya. See yourself. Oh, I look good. Take it back. Again, he thinks, I want to see myself. Prakriti comes in. Now imagine that mirror of Shakti is broken into billions of pieces of kaleidoscope. You know kaleidoscope, the one you see with so many mirrors. Now Brahman looks at it, so many mirrors broken up. It sees so many different things. Everything it sees is Brahman. But is it Brahman complete? No. It depends on the piece of this mirror. But it is Brahman. So when it is infinite like that, infinite forms and names reflected everywhere, is the universe, is the Jagat. The reflecting media is the power of the Brahman, the Maya, in which the mirror reflects the universe. All the Jagat exists. Because of the radiance that he is looking at, in every object that is reflected, the radiance indwells inside to animate it. Now, I happen to be, or you happen to be, one tiny piece of the reflection coming here. Have a stula sukshma sarira abhimanam. But I am essentially the same Brahman. Therefore, I have to reflect. I want to have a Maya. Who is thinking? This Pratibimbam is thinking. The Jiva is thinking. But Jiva is not different. He says, yeah, you are already in the Maya. Maya is what gives you your dreams, your Jagrata, your Swapna, your Sushupti. But you have somehow forgotten that is a reflection of you not you. You have to listen very carefully to what I'm saying. It is not the physical you that you identify with. And because you identify with that one, what is that one? The Sthula Sukshma Sarira Upati, you become distorted. The instrument's capacity, character will give you a different image. You go to, some mirrors will make you fat, different colors. When you look at it, that's not me, it's reflecting like that. You'll ignore it. You'll go away because it's a reflecting medium's fault. But somehow in our life, we think all these blemishes of us. See, a very powerful statement here, which means it allows you to disengage your ownership to your limitations. Those limitations come into existence when you engage in the world because you have an embodiment which is limited. Therefore, you do to the best of the ability, but in a heart of heart, you'll think, how am I going to either enlarge my embodiment better next time so that you can enjoy this samsara more and more. There are techniques by which you can create your next body in your birth so that you know where you're going to go. Or you can say, look, I'm just a reflection, shun all these mirrors. I am Ekam Satyam Parabrahma. I can do. Now, that unadulterated consciousness in you is this Suddha Chaitanya. Do you understand? Therefore, now the Guru says, Tvam pada lakshyartham, Shuddham Chaitanyam. So whenever you hear Shuddha Chaitanyam, Chaitanya means that awareness, consciousness, which is looking at your thinking, looking at your knowledge, looking at your body, your own inself. Sometimes people say, look, I act according to my conscious, my manasakshi. No, but they normally mean the manasakshi as a mind. No, manasakshi is inside consciousness. You cannot really say that is your consciousness. That's why people take that on the hand. I don't need to look at the Guru's word. I act by my consciousness. No, you are not actually you're acting by your mind in what you think. You have not touched your Shuddha Chaitanya. Here, the Manasakshi is Shuddha Chaitanya. So don't go by that assertion that I can act by my consciousness, because your consciousness you do not know yet. Therefore, you still have to follow the Guru, the Vedas, until such time you can be an Upati Vinimukta. Then you are Manasakshi, you are Chitta Chaitanya. Then you don't need Vedas, you don't need Gurus. Whatever you do, happen. Sometimes that's why when we all go through that Shuddha Chaitanya phase in the early morning, when you are in a satsang like this, or in a prayer hall, sometimes that moment comes in. You think, this is like a deja vu. It happened to me before. I listened to this lecture, or I similar thing I had a thought before, or it happened before. It never happened before. It occurred to you in your thought before, because the Chitta Chaitanya knows everything, but you have not trained to hold on to it. Therefore, it is just gone, came and gone. It goes into a chittam. Chittam is different from chit. Chittam is your memory. It is in the memory. When it occurs, the memory comes back and you say, yes, I think I have a deja vu. I think it has happened before. Maybe it didn't happen before. Okay, I'm digressing here. What's the time? Okay. So what I'm trying to say, here he is giving you the Tvam Pada Vachyartham. I thought I'll finish the whole thing today, but I need another class. So I'll just take 5 more minutes to bring this to a logical conclusion. So The disciple asked the question, contradiction Tattvamasi, I am not this one, I can't understand. The teacher says, Iti Chetana, this is not true because you are assuming Tvam means Sthula Sukshma Starira Abhimani, the you, the false notion. It is not. Become an Upati Vinimuktaha. When you become the Upati Vinimuktaha, you will be in a state of, not a trance, state of absolute bliss that you are complete. You have a sense of fulfillment. Like, when you play the Monopoly game, the children, when children are fighting for buying the Piccadilly Street or whatever, and you are just enjoying losing money, you are in a relatively Samadhi Dasha Sambandham because nothing affects you. So when you are able to see the whole world's action as nothing affects you, but not by hiding yourself in a Rishikesh or somewhere in a cave no, in your day-to-day life, you are confronting everything, engaging but not entangled. You are in a Samadhi Darshampanam. When you are there, Shuddha Chaitanya is shown to you, revealing to you. And when you move the identity to that Shuddha Chaitanya, you are the Tvam-pada Lakshyartham. That is the Tvam. If you know that is the Tvam, then you come back to Tattvamasi Vicharam, then you will understand it. In fact, this Tvam-pada Vicharam, knowing who I am, itself is the trigger for sannyasam. See, many sannyasis, you see sannyasis, there are many sannyasis. Sannyasam is not wearing a particular kind of colored clothing and everything. They are important because the reason why you wear such a thing, because you want to tell others, respect my path. Therefore, please don't do things that will affect my sankalpam. So you don't go to sannyasi and say, we like to see a movie. I come with a movie. You don't do that. So that the dress gives you that kind of, so all that is external appearance or rituals you do so that you create an identity for yourself to take the particular pursuit in life. There are many kinds of sannyasa, with the sannyasa, like that. Some are like, some take sannyasam to become, they got the knowledge, but they don't have the vairagyam. They call viragis, or they call it bairagis in North India. They wander around, they do things to remove attachment. When you give them food, for example, in Kashi, if you give them food, give them chapati, rotis, they throw away this sabji, they take the chapatis and they put in the Ganges water. And then they eat it because they want to remove the taste from this. They are fighting to remove attachment. There are sannyasis like that, vairagis. There are sannyasis who go around to learn everything. But all that they do, that phase, is to find out who they really are. Tvam-pada Vicharam is what they're doing. You can do it in a Grahastha ashram, you can do it in any ashram. So Tvam-pada Vicharam is what is important before we can comment, a blanket comment about Tattvamasi statements. So therefore, we conclude here. So we'll have maybe one session on the Tattva Vicharam and briefly Asipada Vicharam. So that in the next class, we finish the Tattvamasi Maha Vakya Vichara introduction. So we will not go any more deeper into this. So I would close it there. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So I would, who would say the Shanti Pada today?
Vanakkam. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Thank you. Vanakkam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Balaji and Raj.
Ajan.